I'm good at making money.
Where did you find a successful entrepreneurial woman? Because I've had a hard time doing that. Where did you guys meet?
I was at my one store and she walked in and I was there. And I told my employees, I got this. I'll take this customer. They're like, Dave, you've never done anything like that. And then it was funny. We manufacture stuff. It was like Pimp My Ride for bikes. We did all crazy stuff. And I think something was wrong with her bike when I went up to her, and I think I might have even messed the bike up because I tried to fix it because I wasn't, that wasn't even my thing. So ended up we fixed her bike or something, or I guess I sort of fixed it for her. She went on her way and then the bike pedal flew off. And then she had to come back to the store and then got to chatting. And then we were like, we should customize your bike. And then literally I was like, well, she lived across the street. She was smooth. I was like, I'll drop it off to you. And then literally dropped it off that night. Hey, do you want to get dinner? And then the rest is history, honestly.
Well, hey, man, you got lucky, and good for you getting out there, asking her to dinner, working up the courage, and it all worked out, huh? Very cool.
Yeah, it was. I think it's like business, right? You just always put yourself out there. You just never know where an opportunity is going to present itself, and the opportunity may come in the form of your partner for the rest of your life.
It's true, and good lesson here. If you missed opportunities like that, you just kick yourself in the face. So if there's someone you want to go talk to, an entrepreneur, a woman, a business partner that you're intimidated by, just rip the Band-Aid off. Get up there, say hi, shake a hand. The worst thing they're going to say is no. Talk to me about the relationship versus business partnership. How are you guys able to manage the two? Are you able to compartmentalize, or does it ever leak into one or the other?
Everything works for different people, right? Some people, you read how to sell, how to have a relationship, how to build a business, and people think that's the end all be all. Everyone's completely different. Now us, we're 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're in bed talking about business. We're waking up talking about business. There's no like, put your phone away, we're on vacation. Like, no, let's keep going. So we're very fortunate. We're the same exact person. Okay. So we are a little bit different in terms of that. And we have crazy goals. That's why we're even still working to this day. So some people, like, I hate the stupid thing, happy wife, happy life, or whatever the hell people want to believe. But, if you do have a relationship where you're like, we don't work on weekends, or after 5 o'clock, you don't work. Okay, if that's what you both believe. But if that's not your thing, voice your opinion on how you want to build your company. Me, if you take off weekends and you're in my industry, good. That's time for me to crush you. Go take off. Go enjoy. You got to decide what you want and how much you want, right? Everyone's trying to build their companies, or thinking about building their company, or thinking about building up their career. It is how hard you want to go and how do you want to do it now? We used to, honestly, a couple of years ago, man, we just golfed every day and traveled. We just made residual income off of credit cards, and wasn't as hard of work because it was kind of just money just coming to us every single month without having to do anything. Now, with some of the new companies that we launched, I'm a professional Zoom person where I almost was almost a professional. I was never a professional golfer, but I was a really good golfer, and now I'm a professional Zoom person. So there's different stages in your life, and it's your life. There's no one to tell you what you can or can't do, but there needs to be a balance where essentially is the biggest key I can give anybody when they're with a partner or a spouse or what have you, is knowing how to put out a fight instantly. Because you will fight every single day. You will fight about your relationship. You will fight about business. Things are going to happen, especially if you're working from home and you don't leave the house that much. So, how you put out those fights instantly is what you need to learn. Even if you're in the wrong or she's in the wrong, someone needs to stop that fight so you can get back to business. Because if you don't, it's going to ruin the whole entire day and potentially ruin the companies you built.
I agree with you. Do you have any strategies that you guys use that you would recommend, or even that works for you to squash that fight? It just, someone has to drop their ego,
right. Essentially. Someone has to drop their ego, and whether you think you were right or you were wrong, it's just go up to them and say, I'm sorry, blah, 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 and just move on. Now, then 20 minutes later, another fight might erupt, another fight might start, but you can't be building your business, talking to customers, trying to do everything, and then have, you're not in the right state of mind. For us, we just squash it instantly. There's no like magic thing or whatever. Go up to them, say, I'm sorry. And then the biggest thing too is starting to learn each other's trigger points, right? Things you can and can't say, things that, may make them feel insecure or may make them feel mad. There's different things that you need to learn. And sometimes you have to humble yourself and not think that you know everything.
A lot of this resonates with me too. It sounds like the relationship that I have with my partner, Scott, we've been in business together 6 or 7 years. And a lot of those same things arise. One, you mentioned that you and your wife are very aligned on values. Your value right now is work. Like that makes you guys happy. You spend weekends working. It's the same thing with business partnerships. And I think people need to be weary going into business or going into a relationship when those values are not aligned. And it's a quick way to ruin a company, a quick way to ruin a relationship. You also mentioned something that I totally agree with, which is that entrepreneurs need to take advantage of weekends because we're all in a competitive space. At least those of us that aren't doing business, locally in some hodunk city somewhere. And if we're not spending those weekends working, grinding, building that company, somebody else is going to beat you. And it is a competition. So I love that you mentioned that. And also the seasons of life. I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into that because it sounds like you had already found some success with kind of residual income from credit card processing. What was that like? Was there like a milestone that you wanted to hit before you spent a lot of time golfing? How long did it take you to hit that milestone? And then did you get bored? What happened to spark that interest in starting a new company?
I don't have $1 billion in my bank account yet. That's the only reason I'm still going. Quite honest. I mean, just to be honest with you, that's my goal, right? And I always tell people like you're going to see on the cover of Forbes, you're going to see, and I believe big goals, you're going to see me on Times Square. You're going to see, and not Times Square where I paid to be on a billboard at Times Square, real Times Square, bringing the NASDAQ bell for one of our companies. Let's be very clear about that. And you're going to see me on the cover of Forbes, not published in Forbes. So it's a different conversation we could have another day. I could retire with my wife today and, tell everyone to F off and turn off my social media and go live my life, and live a good life. But there's things that I haven't done that I need more money for. And there's things where it's superficial or not, like I want the big private plane. I want the island. I want when I retire, my whole family retires. I'm talking aunts, cousins, everybody, everyone's rich. Okay. For example, it wasn't a lot of money. We gave out like $100,000 the last week or something like that. But for all of our nieces, nephews, brothers, and sisters, for people who are graduating high school or what have you, well, it was a different story, but we're like, hey, here's 10 grand for you. Here's 10 grand for you. Do this. Like, it's just nice to be able to give back. So at this point, we used to golf every single day and it was lovely. I mean, I literally had a caddy every day, travel the world, golfing, seen a million different countries, and we're going to get back to that. But for these next couple of years, it's okay, man, we hit a level. I thought I was rich until I talked to that person and go, God, I'm poor. I guess I'm not killing as much as I thought I was. So At this point, it's okay. We're this successful. We could retire, but we see how we could 100x in the next 2 years where we're at. Okay, let's keep on going, right? So, and regardless for some people, I'm going to be very clear. If you have a goal in mind and you put the work in, and you say, screw everyone else, I'm going to ball till I fall. I'm going to buy diamonds and buy mansions, and I'm never going to give $1 away. Well, you earned it. You can do what you want with your money. Don't let people tell you can't do what you want with your money. If you want to make your money because you want to give half to charity, by all means. I think people need to find what drives them. And like we said back on the weekends, if you take off weekends because it's, oh my God, thank God I don't have to work, it means you're probably doing something you don't love. So I think people need to find something they love because life is short. We never know when something could happen. And if you truly love something, you may not become rich at it, right? Like the top 1% actually have a lot of money. And I know because in credit card processing, I see everyone's bank accounts. I see everyone's processing. The thing I need to tell everybody is even the people you look up to, you may look up to them online. You may think they're freaking ballers because they have a Lambo. Or they have a house they rent, or maybe they bought a house. You don't know how much overhead they have. You don't know their life. And those people may be better at social media than you. That may be all it is. So I think people need to be happy with what they have. They need to live places they can afford. And if they have big dreams, they need to strategically figure out and align themselves with their partner, their wife, whoever, that, hey, babe, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to work 7 days a week. I'm going to not have as much time with this. We're going to be negating certain things in our lives, but this is my strategy. I know we thought it's going to take 6 months. I'm a realist. It may take 3 years, but I'm willing to give it a shot, right? Those are things that, people need to have a real plan on what they want and really set your goals. And if your goal is, I just want to make $100,000 a year, have my house paid off and freaking golf every day and live my best life, well, then great. But I don't want to hear you bitching about not having money and be like, oh, I don't have enough money. But yeah, you take Saturday and Sunday off. So don't bitch to me and not having money. You got opportunities to get money. You decide not to.
100% agree with you. And I think the number one cause of burnout, especially with entrepreneurs, is not having that end goal in mind, not knowing what they need to make to have the lifestyle that they need, and not knowing what their driving force, the light at the end of the tunnel is, what they love. And for you, did you mention that it was golf? Like that's at the end of the tunnel, you've made your $1 billion in your bank account. Do you know what you're going to do, where you're going to be spending your time?
No, I have no idea, quite honestly. My biggest thing is why do I keep going? I want everyone in the world to know my name, and that might be superficial. I want to be famous. I want to be famous for my accomplishments. Nothing wrong with saying that. See,
nothing wrong with saying that.
No, people won't say it. They'll think it, and they'll judge me for it because they wish they could say it. The biggest thing is people need to work on mental toughness, man. One of our companies we launched, we're about 2 years in, and no money for 2 years. And I'm talking about just backbreaking work of just crazy, doing millions, but no profitability. And now it's finally taking its turn. So many people would have dropped 1,000 times in that 2 year span. But we kept digging for gold, and finally we found it. And now we're scaling like crazy, and this is going to be some massive, massive company. So the biggest thing for people is, setting goals for sure, knowing your drive for sure, but being mentally tough to find other people to be in your circle, because you need that partner. You need that X, Y, and Z for when the days are just absolutely horrible. You're like, just screw it, man. I'm getting a job. Just screw it. Just sell the company. Or we go online and it's like, oh my God, but they're killing it. I'm such a loser. Like they said they make 6 figures or whatever, right? Like it's how can you keep on digging when you keep hitting bedrock? Right? When you don't find gold, how mentally tough are you to keep on going? And everyone thinks that they're going to be millionaires in a year. And by all means, be as rich as you can, as quick as you can. But for the 99.9% of us, the rest of the world, 99% of us, it's hard work. And I think online, we all just love to show how easy we made money, but we don't tell the whole story of how much freaking crap we had to go through to get to where we are.
It's also easier to show the money than it is the crap. No one wants to watch you, sitting in a basement somewhere grinding away. They want to see you driving the Lamborghini.
I guess yes and no. Yeah. I mean, yeah, true.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, sometimes it depends on what you post online of what reaction it's going to get. But, some of our crappiest videos on just like real business stuff that's not selling have done our best, as opposed to like, I bought my dream car. I waited a long time. I could have bought it a long time ago. I believe in just waiting. My dad, I bought the Rolls Royce Cullinan, and I'm very proud of it. I love driving it. I love when people look at me. No problem. But honestly, I think we're turning in a way for online that so many people have been screwed from other people online, where it's a difference when I pull up to a meeting in person. It's like, okay, I don't got to say what I do. You know what I mean? It's like the guy does something. The guy has to do something. You pull up in a $500,000 car. The guy does something. Okay. And, online, unfortunately, the bad actors have ruined a lot of people who work online, where no one trusts anybody anymore. So the more you actually show wealth, sometimes can be, give you an adverse effect. And by the way, you guys need to be careful. You're showing off all your diamonds, all your things online. You look at all the home robberies, all the people getting stuck up because you show exactly where you are and where you're stunting.
Yeah, it's true. I've heard of that happening. And congrats on getting your dream car. I got to Google that. What did you say it was called? A Rolls Royce what?
The Rolls Royce Cullinan. It's the SUV, the Rolls Royce SUV.
Damn, beautiful. What else is on your dream list of toys? I know you mentioned a plane. Do you have a list? Do you have a budget in mind?
I'm going to buy a golf course, but I'm going to buy a golf course maybe the next year or something like that. Definitely going to buy a plane next year. I'm going to buy a golf course I want to be a partner in. I'm going to buy a castle in Scotland, which you can buy not as expensive as you guys would think.
What does a castle in Scotland go for?
You get a good castle for maybe $3 to $10 million. It's
not that bad.
As crazy as you would think a castle, right? Like the whole thing. But I don't show stuff online. I'll never show myself giving people money or giving time out of my day to people, because I just don't. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look at me giving someone money who may be. And by the way, money doesn't mean you're more than anybody. You just know how to make more money than other people, right? Someone may be better at something else than you, right? This is just a game that I'm good at. I'm good at making money. I suck at a million other things, right? So, I love the ability to, as simple as go out to dinner and give someone a massive tip they've never had. I love to be places and help people financially whenever I can. I love to give my time to. We're signing up, for the Big Brother, the orphanage, just giving back our time. I won't show that online because I don't ever want to show anyone who's down their luck and we're helping. That's not ever to be shown online. But I also love the ability to find other entrepreneurs, which we do invest in companies. I like to find other entrepreneurs that maybe don't have money, don't have a support system, but are workaholics and are geniuses and actually maybe have something. They're like, let's partner. If I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I'd say, you can go to college and go drink beers for 4 years if you want. If that's what you want to do, just tell me. Or it's going to cost me $300,000 to pay you to go to college. Let's be 50-50 partners. Here's 300. What do you want to do? Right. So, I want to make different marks, but let's be real. When we all die, no one's going to remember us. Okay. So, I believe in, if anyone ever meets me in person, I'll open the door for you. I'll smile. I believe in just, you walk past people, smile, like little things we can do every single day to potentially change someone else's life. And I was watching a YouTube thing earlier today, and it was funny. It's always stuck with me before I watched it. Is you never know the little things you can say or gestures you can do that can completely change the course of someone else's life. And it was funny where they interview people and they asked them, what was one thing that someone said to you that was the most horrible thing they could ever say? It's always stuck with you. And it's sad that some people hold on to things where you may do something that you may not seem as detrimental, but you may say something to somebody like, you can't do that. Go get a job. You stop being a dreamer. Being an entrepreneur or a business is for other people. It's not for us. Actually, somebody said that on there. And I'm like, that's horrible. And the guy was crying, which, he also said he was lazy too. So I'd say it with a grain of salt. But he was like, the reason why he never went after his dream is because he was told his whole life he could never achieve that because of the X, Y, and Z of where he was brought up. Right. So I think that we need to be accountable, especially the people who are successful, that, man, you pull up in a nice car, you go somewhere and someone goes, what do you do? Can I pick your brain? Don't just give them your card and say, work hard. Like maybe take a couple minutes out of your day and just hear out what they're doing. But at the same time, I'm never just going to hand over something to somebody. If I freaking had to work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, I'm going to make your life easier. Not going to happen. You're going to work just as hard as me, right? If we're going to partner.
100%. And I'd like to Daniel Mackey right here, roll down your window. What do you do? How were you able to achieve this wealth and where you are at right now? A lot of people are struggling with ideas. They don't know how to get from A to B. They see the Instagram lifestyle. So I'm curious as well. What is out there? What kind of possibilities?
My whole life, I've been an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I've always grew successful businesses. And then for one reason or another, was this. I'm nuts. I'm obsessive compulsive with whatever I do. And before I met my wife, there was just a million ups and downs in my life, from starting companies to destroying companies. I was really good at scaling companies, horrible at sustaining them. Because I just enjoyed building them. But then once they got built, I was like, bored on what's the next one, right? So a lot of people need to realize: are you good at starting companies? Are you good at scaling companies? Are you good at sustaining companies? Or are you great at destroying companies? Where do you have faults that you need to bring someone else in? Now, someone else I brought in, not knowing when I brought her in, was my wife. My wife 1,000% made more money than me when I met her, and made longer term money because every single day reset. And, for people who are starting out with our companies is, now, we're investors in a lot of different nightclubs and restaurants. We own a tech company. We own payments companies. We own the largest training company in the world that teaches people how to do what we do, which is called residual payments. That only came to fruition 2 years ago. Started to 2.5 that messed up my golf game because people kept asking, how can you be this age and golfing at this club on a frickin' Tuesday? Right. And then I'd be other places. People would ask what we do because they'd see the Instagram lifestyle. So we started teaching people unintentionally. And then we brought it online. And now we teach people every single day to do what we do, which is, if you know a business owner online or offline, or if you're a business owner, Or if you're a marketing company, I'm going to school you real quick and teach you about something. Is first of all, you're an idiot for not doing this, and you're going to be you can't be mad at yourself, but we can only move forward from this. And I told this exactly to my friend who probably owns just as big as a marketing company as you do, and he's probably just as smart as you are. Is he was sending all his clients to Stripe and PayPal. I said the same thing. I said, you're an idiot. He's like, why? I said, because you're sending them to Stripe and PayPal and you're not getting paid for it. I said, do you know how many clients that you may send to Stripe or PayPal, you didn't know that we could set them up and then you could get 50-50 on every single account for the life of the account. So they're coming to you to pay for your marketing. You're doing work for what they're paying for. Imagine if your client leaves you, you're not doing any more work and you're still getting paid off their account. One of our oldest accounts is about 17 years old. Obviously, Patricia's. People can probably figure that out now because we've only been in it for a decade. 16 years ago, Patricia talked to a gentleman and a couple. They went on to be the number 2 MLM in the world. And 17 years later we are still getting paid off of almost all. There's credit card transactions every single month. So if you set your own business up, you can also make residual income off of your own credit card transactions. And then 99.9% of the business owners that we deal with go, well, I know other business owners or people. People can also do this if you're non-business owner, but we mostly work with business owners. They go, well, I have clients or I know other business owners. Can you do it? Well, I'm busy. Don't worry. We'll come in. We'll do everything. We'll do all the heavy lifting. And then essentially what we do is save people a little bit of money, but then we also create a new residual income stream off of the credit cards that they're already accepting in their business. You may be paying 3% to accept credit cards, but what you don't know is the true hard cost might be 2%. So there's a lot of markup that you can then start to earn on every single sale. And then you can also earn on other people's sales. Once something's done you never have to do anything else again. Every single month, you are a silent partner, if you will. And you aren't, but you are in their business, but taking zero risk, zero money, zero time. It's a set it and forget it model. And in my opinion, probably the best business in the world.
That's the best affiliate marketing company in the world because you need credit card processing. I'm not going to leave my credit card processor in a million years because we've got so much data with them. So it makes sense. Somebody's probably making a ton of money on us every single month, and will probably continue to make more money on us.
And what do you mean by data? Well, you never leave them.
So the reason we've been hesitant to leave our current credit card processor, which is not Stripe, is because we have so much data with them. So they have all of our clients' credit card information, and they're on active subscriptions. So anyone who's pitched us so far to come in and quote us at a lower rate has been unable to guarantee that they'd be able to transfer everything uninterrupted.
Let me say this first. Sometimes we do have clients where we're like, listen, it's going to be way too much of a headache for you. I don't want to jeopardize your business. We're not going to help you. That's very rare. Now, here's two things that it can happen. Number one, 99.9% of platforms we can integrate, it can all move over. We do our due diligence. Our tech teams, our integration teams look everything up before we do a green light. Or number two, let's say random numbers, right? Let's say you're paying $10,000 a month in fees, and you can put you down to $8,000, right? So still, I don't care who anyone is. That's still $24,000 a year back in your pocket, and for as long as you're going to be in business. What I do for some people is when they're in a closed loop system where nothing can be moved over because they're on some proprietary software that's very closed loop. I go, listen, last thing you want to do is call those people and remind them they're on a subscription. So we're not going to touch that. If we can't seamlessly move them over with webhooks, Zapier, blah, 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 blah. Right. So what we'll do is keep them. I'm not telling you to cancel who you're with. Keep who you're with. Let's add redundancy and open up shop over here for the new subscriptions, okay? If the savings make sense. Then eventually, if those subscriptions ever start to wind down, then we'll close shop over here and we just have this. The great news for you, what makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, is when it becomes a brand new relationship, we are just getting to know each other. As big as we can tout ourselves online, it's still, hey, it's my money. It's my money. Let me make sure everything's good. They've been good to me. So it's a little, switching might be a little, iffy sometimes. So what I tell people is don't call them. Keep them. Even if let's say you don't have subscriptions, and let's say you have a point of sale in a restaurant, and you sell online, I'll say, don't call them. Keep it in the background. If in 30 days from now, the savings, the support, everything I promised you did not come to fruition, you didn't switch everything and bet on us. After 30 days, you're like, all right, Dave, you didn't screw me, because I know we're not going to. We've been doing this forever. Is then you can feel confident and then close up shop if you want, or potentially have both going at the same time. If the savings are significant enough, which they probably would for you, it would benefit you where, okay, maybe you have to just log into 2 systems, 5 minutes of your day. What's that worth it to you? It might be a lot of money. So for you, like I tell everybody, it's worth taking a look under the hood and seeing how much money you're burning every single month. And then we just make an educated decision on, after you see everything, how it's going to work, is this a fit for you? And that's it.
What does it take to become an authorized reseller under you for the people that train and want to start offering this to clients or start earning money this way? What does the process look like?
Yeah. So anyone can join our program and do this on your own. Okay. You can pay $1 to join. The reason why I make it $1 is because I believe people should make an educated decision and know what they're getting involved in before they even open up their wallet. If you're a business owner, you can come and join for $1 and switch your own business over, be your first client for your own business, and instantly save and make yourself money and be on your merry way for $1. Okay. You can go to residualpayments.com and go and sign up. If you want us to do all the heavy lifting for you, do all your sales calls, your apps, do everything and train you and let you just make a relationship, bring them to us. We'll do everything else. It's actually inexpensive. We only charge $5,000 for the year. And then 6 months later, it's just $500 a month. The first 2 weeks are getting your bearings. The next couple of weeks are let's land as many accounts as we want. And then the reason why we give you a year is because I make pennies on your transactions. I have a very invested interest for you to be successful. Now, outside merchant services, we offer funding, payroll, SaaS products, marketing, branding, social media, a million other things that people can offer to their clients. We're 50-50. 50% of our members are business owners. The other 50% are people who are starting their own companies. For the business owners, they can come in, pay the $5,000, pay the $500 a month, 6 months later, and we will do everything for them. So, for example, every time you have a client, you send them over, we do everything. I'm not asking you to do extra work. I'm not asking you to learn anything. So you can learn as much or as little as you want. You'll have your own dashboard where you can see all of your clients, all the applications we've sent for you, and all the money you're making on all of your clients. And every time we land an account with you, you get paid for the life of that account. So as long as they're processing, you will continue to get paid.
What can somebody expect to make, say, annually on a company that they sign up that does $1 million a year in credit card processing?
You can make anywhere. I'm going to be more of a realist than dangling a bigger number. You can make anywhere from 0.1 to 2%. So on $100,000, that's what, $100 or $2,000. So you can just 10x that, right? So on a smaller scale, if a business does $100,000 a month, you can make anywhere from $100 to $2,000 a month off that account. So it's literally that simple. Some accounts can be won the same day. And the great news is for a lot of people, they either don't have time or don't have the knowledge, or they need the support teams or what have you. That's where we come in. It's like, listen, learn as you go. You don't need to go to like college for 4 years and learn a skill. And then you could actually start work today. We're going to show you how to land accounts. And then for business owners, we go, keep doing your business. We'll every week, bi-weekly, whenever you want to meet, we'll do a call, a Zoom, go over your accounts, go over the money you're making. And then if you can be as involved or as not involved as you want.
Now, for the business owners like me, we pay 6 figures plus a year in processing fees between PayPal and credit cards. Why don't we have better rates? What can you do that Stripe and authorized.net and all these other providers can't? And is there like a trick or something that we're missing as business owners to not get those rates?
So you can't knock Stripe, PayPal, or Square. That's also a goal of mine, is eventually one of those companies I can't, hopefully, probably never going to happen. But like, Dave, we've seen you. We want you. You'll be the first, your company's been disrupting us too much. That would be a goal, right? But you can't knock those companies. But those companies, because they're so ginormous, their rate is their rate. They can't be flexible with their rates. Their rate has to be one flat rate. So we can be creative, where you might be paying 2.9 and 30 cents, let's say with PayPal, but the true cost might be 2.3 and 5 cents, right? So, I guarantee you, you probably have 0.5% markup. That's wiggle room in your own business for sure, which on a grander scale of where you're at, that's some money. You know what I mean? That's some, I don't care who you are. That's some money at the end of the year for sure. So the reason why they, it's kind of like people want ease of use, which we have. We offer the same hardware, the same gateways, the same integrations. But they were smart where people don't want to think. They're like, what's the rate? Here's the rate. Boom. Here's how you get set up. And they're what's called aggregators. So now, what type of marketing clients do you have? Is it high risk, low? Is it e-com? Like what type of clients?
It's mostly B2B services.
Okay. So B2B. So for example, if it wasn't B2B, let's say if it was, like e-com, high risk, like nutraceutical, MLM, coaches, BizOp, credit repair, they always use Stripe and PayPal, but they get shut down as fast as they're set up. So essentially they're called they're essentially letting people instantly get boarded, but then they do their underwriting later. It's kind of like renting a house. When you get a traditional merchant account, not through PayPal or Stripe, a real merchant account, it's like buying a house, and you can actually grow your business with a traditional merchant account instead of being the fear of being shut down or your funds being held.
That's real. That happened to me. I own a supplement company, and we had to leave Stripe for that exact reason. So that's
some people will put you under.
Yeah.
They'll hold it for 6 months sometimes. What if you don't have any? Here's the thing. You get all these orders. Your funds are held. You don't have any money to fulfill those orders. All your money's sitting there. You took 4 years to build a business that got destroyed in one day because you wanted to go with Stripe. So I tell anybody, if you go with Stripe, you might as well go to the casino, put $1 million on black and let it roll and see if you win or not. It's the same thing.
That actually happened to us with the money getting held for 6 months. Luckily, we had.
I can't make this up.
It's like you're a genie. But no, it's real. And if there's any takeaway for business owners here in that game that is using Stripe and is doing anything in the supplement coaching space and you're be considered medium to high risk, I'm with you. Now, do you not face those same risks with other credit card processing companies?
No. So we take on the liability for the clients, right? And sometimes it also depends. But with us, you're not having to talk to someone at PayPal and then has to go through a million different hoops and they don't have the authority. When you're dealing with us, it goes to the higher ups where we can actually pull the strings and we can look at different accounts. And, we're not freezing accounts for no reason. So, for example, let's say someone does $1 million a month. We'll tell our clients, hey, man, you got an event this weekend and you're thinking about doing $2 million in 2 days. You got to let us know beforehand so we can let the banks know. So they're not like, oh, my God, freezing the account. Usually they freeze the accounts because of thinking there's fraud because there was so much volume. Now, the reason why Stripe or PayPal freeze the accounts, which is different, is they never did their due diligence. They didn't know what you were selling. And what they'll do is they'll say, you are not a permitted business for us to process for. That's why we're holding your funds. Or you went a little bit above chargebacks. We're holding your funds. We have the flexibility to call our clients, go, hey, man, your accounts, your ratios are going a little bit high. Your chargebacks are starting to spike. How can we fix that? Because if not, in the next 30, 60 days, we're going to have to move you over here or we're going to have to do something. We're not just trigger happy. Number two, we know what we're boarding when we're boarding it. We go through, which you may get instantly approved by Stripe or PayPal. We may have to take 24 or 48 hours. But isn't it worth taking an extra day or two to make sure you don't ruin your whole entire business just because you want to be set up in an hour? So, that's why I always tell people is you're going to launch in a week. Okay, let's set you up a week before. Don't call me the night before you need to get set up and go, oh, you can't do it tonight, Dave. I'm going with Stripe. Good luck then. And then what happens is it's a horrible analogy, but it's like drinking and driving. It's kind of like, well, I never got pulled over, but you could. You could kill somebody. You could go to jail. Everything could be ruined. But some people don't know, like now you know until it happens to them. And you can't sell people on fear, right? I can't go to you and go, you're going to lose your account. You're going to lose everything. That's not a good sales tactic, right? It's kind of like that would be a horrible thing to say. So, I don't need to work with everybody. That's the beauty of it. I don't need to beg anyone for their business. I don't need to convince anybody, and I don't need them to feel uncomfortable, and they don't need to work with me just as much as I don't need to work with them. There's too much business out there. There's 33 million small businesses in the U.S. There's so many people like yourself that are the biggest referral partners for us. And, it's kind of like whoever I can help and wants to help, great. Whoever I can't, they got my number. They know where I'm at. And that's kind of the beauty of credit card processing is like, it's not a race to the bottom, and you don't need everybody to switch to you to make a ton of money, because you can make a lot of money off of a couple accounts.
Right. And talk about passive income, accounts that could be with you and paying you for 17 years, like that client that you have. So that is kind of the ultimate form of passive income. Very cool opportunity. Mm-hmm. I'd love to point our business owners in the direction to learn more about where they can go get some information to potentially get a quote on a new rate for their company. I'll be doing that with you probably after this episode. And then also listeners who might like the idea of the opportunity of selling credit card processing or getting more companies involved, getting the word out, spreading the word. So I think there might be a lack of awareness here. It's definitely not something that I've come across a lot. And you're right, you can't really sell fear, but you can sell savings. If the savings are significant, I think you'd see a lot of people jump that Stripe ship.
Yeah, I mean, that's why my wife and I are the most hated people in payments, because we've actually opened Pandora's box. And we tell everybody, like, stop, probably a hit out of us or something eventually one day, because they also hate digital payments, because it's letting ordinary people be a part of this industry when they're like, they're not supposed to be here, right? It's disrupting stuff, which is whatever, you like it or not. So residual payments, residualpayments.com is our corp site. You can go there. You can sign up there. Our link is above our Instagram at Meet the Carlins. And you guys can find out the information there. It's a partnership, right? And we're not selling you anything. You're not selling us anything. We want to work with people, for as long as they want to work with us. And quite honestly, for anybody here, we're not going to force anyone to switch. Just like you, at least you'll know how much you're overpaying. At least you'll know where you sit. And then you can make an educated decision on if it's good for you. And then for us, you can join our program. You can go, Dave, cool course material, but I don't got time for that. What's it going to cost? Well, you heard me. It's $5,000 for a year, $500 a month, 6 months later for us to do everything for you. You heard I said you can make 0.1 to 2%. You can probably figure out one account can pay your cover your cost. I'm not here to sell courses. I'm here to build relationships and partnerships, so I also make money off of your accounts for the next decade. So I have a long-term goal, and that's why I'm betting on you and everybody else that if I can make you really successful like we are, like the thousands of people that we're fortunate enough to work with, well, then that's the bigger picture here. And it's a collective of all of us working together. It allows us to work in power and numbers, so we can garner exclusive contracts and lower rates. So that's where every time I sign up with a new relationship, I can go, they give me a rate. I go, that's not going to work. And they go, why? I go, I got about 2,000 people coming with me. They're like, oh, okay, well, here's this. So that's how we're cornering the market. Instead of being separate and let everyone, we're moving as one.
I love that. And thank you for spending some time bringing this information to us. And I love that name, the most hated team in payments. That is a hell of a...
Please use that. Please. I would love to be a headline. Please use that.
That is a great headline. I will be using it. David, thank you again.
Thank you.